The massive alien ship appeared in Earth's orbit without warning. Its hull gleamed with an iridescent metal unknown to human science. For 3 days, it hung silently above the planet while governments scrambled and civilians watched the skies in fear and wonder. On the 4th day, the aliens finally made contact. "We are the Galactic Hegemony," the alien transmission stated in perfect English. "We wish to welcome humanity to the greater cosmic community." Within hours, world leaders agreed that Commander Kate Donovan of the United States Navy and Alan Peters, a seasoned diplomat, would represent Earth at this historic meeting. Both had been chosen for their calm temperaments and quick thinking. They would need both qualities. The meeting took place at a neutral location, the International Space Station. Kate watched through the airlock window as the alien shuttle docked with surprising grace for its size. Her hand rested near her sidearm, though she knew it would offer little protection if these beings had hostile intentions. "Remember," Alan whispered beside her, "we represent all of humanity now." The airlock hissed open. The alien who emerged walked on 2 legs, but had 4 arms and skin that shifted colors like oil on water. Its head housed 3 large eyes that blinked independently. "I am Ambassador Krell-Zax of the Vesperi, speaking on behalf of the 27 species of the Galactic Hegemony," the alien said, its mouth not moving as the words seemed to form directly in Kate's mind. "We have been observing your planet for some time." After formal introductions, they moved to the station's conference room. Images projected from Krell-Zax's device showed hundreds of worlds and thousands of species across the galaxy. "The universe is vast and filled with life," Krell-Zax explained. "Some species are advanced enough to join our community as full members. Others require guidance." Kate noticed how the alien's skin darkened when it said this last word. "And where does humanity fall?" Alan asked politely. "Your species has potential that remains primitive by galactic standards. You will be classified as a protectorate species," Krell-Zax stated. "This is a great honor. Many species wait centuries for such recognition." "What exactly does protectorate status mean?" Kate asked, not liking the sound of it. "We will help manage your development. Your resources will be utilized more efficiently under hegemony oversight. Your military activities will be limited to your own planet. Your technological advancement will be guided along appropriate paths." Alan leaned forward. "This sounds like you're proposing to control Earth's future." "We are offering to share the benefits of 10,000 years of galactic civilization," Krell-Zax replied, "in exchange for a modest portion of your planet's resources." "How modest?" Kate asked. "Merely 30% of all rare minerals, 40% of your water reserves, and exclusive mining rights to your entire solar system beyond this planet." The alien's skin rippled with bright patterns. "A most equitable arrangement." Kate and Alan exchanged glances. "We'll need to discuss this with our governments," Alan said carefully. "Of course," Krell-Zax agreed. "Though I should clarify that this is not a negotiation. These are the standard terms for all protectorate species." Kate felt her temper rising. "And if we refuse?" The alien's skin flashed briefly red before settling into a calm blue. "No species has ever found that beneficial." After the meeting, a small administrative outpost was established in lunar orbit, while Earth's leaders debated their options. 2 weeks later, Kate and Alan stood before the United Nations Security Council. "They're not here as friends," Kate told the grim-faced leaders. "They view us as resources to be harvested." "We have 2 choices," Alan added. "Submit to becoming a colony of this hegemony, or resist." "With what?" asked the Chinese representative. "Their technology is centuries beyond ours." Kate stepped forward. "Then we'll just have to catch up quickly. Humans are good at adapting. And we have one advantage. They think we're primitive. They don't expect us to fight back." The Secretary General nodded slowly. "How much time would we need?" "Years," Kate admitted. "We would have to pretend to cooperate while secretly preparing." "A dangerous game," the Russian president muttered. "Yes," Kate agreed. "But it's the only one we can play if we want to remain free." And so the decision was made. Earth would smile and bow to their new galactic overlords. For now, 5 years passed since the arrival of the galactic hegemony. On the surface, Earth had accepted its role as a protectorate world. Hegemony ships came and went freely, extracting resources from the outer planets and asteroids of the solar system. Humans bowed their heads when hegemony officials walked by. They spoke with proper respect during inspections. They appeared to be the perfect subjugated species. Ambassador Krelzax, now the permanent hegemony representative to Earth, was pleased with how easily humans had fallen in line. He often boasted to his superiors about his skillful handling of the primitive species. "Humans understand their place," he reported during his quarterly update. "They lack the will to resist a superior civilization." But deep beneath the oceans, inside hollowed-out mountains, and in the most remote deserts, humanity was far from accepting their fate. Commander Kate Donovan, now Admiral, stepped through the massive blast doors of Facility Omega, buried 2 miles beneath the Pacific Ocean floor. The enormous underground chamber housed a shipyard where workers assembled vessels unlike anything seen on Earth before. The largest ship, nearly complete, stretched almost half a mile long. Its black hull absorbed light rather than reflected it. "How soon?" Kate asked the man beside her. Chief Engineer Paul Washington checked his tablet. "The U.S. Defiance will be ready for trials next month. The stealth systems are performing better than expected." "And the other sites?" "All on schedule. We have 12 major construction facilities operating at full capacity worldwide. The Chinese facility in the Gobi is actually ahead of schedule." Kate nodded with satisfaction. When the world's nations had decided to resist the hegemony, old rivalries had been set aside. Humanity was working together with a unity never before seen in history. She made her way to the research level where Dr. Olivia Rice was waiting in her lab. The space was filled with disassembled alien technology. "Tell me you have good news," Kate said. Olivia smiled and held up what looked like a small crystal. "Better than good. We'd finally cracked their FTL communication system. And in the process, we found something they didn't intend us to know." "What's that?" "The hegemony isn't as technologically advanced as they want us to believe. They didn't invent most of this technology. They stole it from other species they conquered. Their real advantage is organization and numbers, not innovation." This was exactly what Kate needed to hear. "Can we use their communication network?" "Not just use it. We can monitor it without being detected. We've been listening to their chatter for weeks now." Kate felt a surge of hope. "Show me." Olivia activated a display showing a map of nearby star systems. Blinking lights represented hegemony ships and bases. "This is their complete defense network in our sector, updated in real time." Kate studied the display carefully. "They only have minimal forces nearby. They really don't see us as a threat." "Their overconfidence is our advantage," Olivia said. Later that day, Kate met with Secretary General Malik Johnson in a secure room deep beneath the old United Nations building. Representatives from the world's major powers were present, either in person or via secure hologram. "Admiral Donovan, your progress report is impressive," Johnson said after she finished her presentation. "The question now is timing. When do we reveal ourselves?" "The fleet will be ready in 6 months," Kate replied. "But we should wait for the annual inspection. That's when their guard is lowest." The Russian president's hologram nodded. "And what of Operation Thunderclap?" "All systems are in place," Kate said. "The moment we give the signal, every hegemony outpost in our solar system will be neutralized simultaneously." Johnson looked around the room. "Then it's decided. In 6 months, we stop pretending. In 6 months, we show the galaxy that humanity will not be enslaved." As the meeting ended, Kate looked at the battle plans one last time. The hegemony thought humans were weak, compliant, and primitive. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The silent years of preparation were almost over. Ambassador Krelzak stood on the observation deck of his ship, watching Earth rotate slowly below. His annual inspection of the protectorate world was nearly complete. Everything seemed in order, just as it had been for the past 5 years. The humans remained obedient and properly fearful of hegemony power. Yet something bothered him. The resource output numbers didn't quite match what his experts had predicted. Earth should have provided more rare minerals by now. Scan the oceans again, he ordered his science officer. Focus on the deep Atlantic Trench. The officer complied, and moments later looked up with confusion. Sir, I'm detecting unusual energy readings beneath the ocean floor. What kind of readings? Unknown, sir, but they're substantial and definitely not natural. Krelzax felt the first twinge of concern. Take us down for a closer look. As the hegemony ship descended through Earth's atmosphere, alarm signals suddenly blared across every console. Multiple objects rising from the ocean. The tactical officer shouted. Hundreds of them. Impossible, Krelzax whispered. But his eyes didn't lie. All across Earth's oceans, massive ships were breaking the surface. Ships that shouldn't exist. Ships built with technology the humans couldn't possibly possess. Sir, more vessels are emerging from under the ice caps, from mountain ranges, from deserts. The tactical display showed over 300 ships rising from hidden locations across the planet. And they were just the beginning. Sensors detected movement from the far side of the moon, from Mars, from hidden bases among the asteroids. In orbit above Earth, the largest human vessel positioned itself directly in front of Krelzax's ship. It was enormous, nearly twice the size of his own vessel, with sleek lines and weapon ports that glowed with barely contained energy. A communication request flashed on his screen. With trembling fingers, Krelzax accepted it. Admiral Kate Donovan's face appeared. No longer wearing the submissive expression he had grown accustomed to, she now looked at him with cold determination. Ambassador Krelzax, she said calmly, this message is being broadcast to every world in the galactic hegemony. I suggest you pay close attention. The screen split to show a wider view of what appeared to be a command bridge. Behind Kate stood dozens of human officers at their stations. I am Admiral Kate Donovan of Earth's Defense Force. For 5 years, the people of Earth have endured the hegemony's presence in our system. We have watched you strip our outer planets of resources. We have listened to your condescension. We have studied your strengths and your many weaknesses. Kate's eyes narrowed. As of this moment, humanity formally declares war on the galactic hegemony. We reject your authority. We reclaim our sovereignty. And we serve notice that any hegemony forces remaining in our solar system in 1 hour will be destroyed. Krelzax stared in disbelief. This is madness. You cannot possibly stand against the might of the hegemony. Look around you, Ambassador. Your lunar outpost has already been neutralized. Your mining operations on Mars and in the asteroid belt have been disabled. Every hegemony ship in our system is currently targeted by multiple human vessels. As if to prove her point, a series of explosions lit up the space around the moon. The hegemony's main administrative base erupted in flames as human ships completed their attack. This is impossible, Krelzax whispered. Humans are a primitive species. That was your first mistake, Kate replied. You underestimated us. Your second mistake was giving us time to prepare. Across the galaxy, on the hegemony capital world, the High Council watched the transmission with growing horror. How could this happen? The Supreme Counselor demanded. They were supposed to be harmless. Intelligence Officer Xental stepped forward. We have just discovered that for the past 5 years, humans have been systematically infiltrating our networks, studying our technology, and identifying our vulnerabilities. They are not the simple creatures we thought them to be. As Krelzax's ship frantically retreated from Earth, the Supreme Counselor made a decision that would change the course of galactic history. Deploy the Third Fleet, he ordered. Crush this human rebellion before others get the same idea. What the hegemony didn't understand was that it was already too late. The hegemony's third fleet arrived at the edge of the solar system 3 weeks after Earth's declaration of war. It was an impressive sight. Over 200 warships arranged in perfect formation. Their commanders were confident. After all, no single species had ever successfully challenged the hegemony. Admiral Ryan Blackwood watched the enemy fleet on the main screen of his command ship. As leader of Earth's Alpha Battle Group, he had been chosen to deliver humanity's first interstellar punch. His 20 ships were small compared to the hegemony armada, but size wasn't everything. "They're using standard approach vectors," his tactical officer reported. "Just as intelligence predicted." Ryan nodded. "The hegemony has fought the same way for centuries. They've never needed to change. Until now," his second-in-command added with a smile. Ryan turned to his communications officer. "Send the signal to all ships. Operation First Strike begins in 5 minutes." Rather than meeting the hegemony fleet head-on, the human ships split into 5 smaller groups. Each group targeted a different section of the enemy formation. The hegemony commanders, seeing this apparently foolish tactic, prepared to crush the small human squadrons one by one. "Enemy ships are charging weapons," the tactical officer announced. "Let them fire first," Ryan ordered. The hegemony ships launched their first barrage, powerful energy beams designed to cripple enemy vessels. But something unexpected happened. The human ships seemed to shimmer, and the beams passed harmlessly through them. "Holographic decoys deployed," the tactical officer confirmed. "The real ships are now in position." The actual human vessels had used the distraction to slip between the hegemony formation, their advanced stealth systems hiding them from enemy sensors. Now they were inside the hegemony's defensive screen. "All ships, open fire," Ryan commanded. Earth's vessels unleashed weapons the hegemony had never seen before. Directed energy pulses disabled enemy ships without destroying them. Specialized missiles bypassed shields by briefly shifting into another dimension. Most devastating of all were the computer viruses that infected the hegemony's supposedly secure networks. "Sir, the enemy command ship is experiencing multiple system failures," the communications officer reported. "Their battle coordination is breaking down." On the hegemony command ship, Admiral Vorlak watched in horror as his carefully arranged formation fell into chaos. Ship after ship reported weapons failures, navigation errors, and communication breakdowns. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "These are primitives." His technology officer looked up from his console with fear in his eyes. "Sir, they've somehow accessed our command protocols. They're using our own systems against us." "That's impossible. Our networks are unhackable." Apparently, the humans didn't know that. The officer replied grimly. Back on Ryan's ship, the battle was progressing better than expected. The human forces had disabled nearly a third of the hegemony fleet without losing a single vessel. "They're breaking formation," the tactical officer announced. "Several ships are attempting to retreat." Ryan nodded. "Let them go. We want survivors to spread the word." The battle lasted less than 2 hours. When it ended, the mighty Third Fleet was in ruins, 78 ships destroyed, 94 disabled, and the rest in full retreat. It was the worst defeat in hegemony military history. As Ryan prepared his after-action report, he received a message from Earth. It was from Admiral Kate Donovan. "Excellent work, Admiral Blackwood. The hegemony now knows we can hurt them. Phase 2 begins tomorrow." Ryan smiled. This was just the beginning. Already, reports were coming in from across the galaxy. Other subjugated species were watching closely. Some were even reaching out to Earth, asking how they too might stand against their oppressors. The Hegemony Council met in emergency session. When news of the defeat reached them, the Supreme Counselor's skin had turned a sickly gray color. "How could this happen?" he demanded. "How could primitives defeat our most powerful fleet?" Intelligence Officer Xental stepped forward again. "We have analyzed their tactics and technology. These humans, They don't think like any species we've encountered. They adapt, they innovate, they exploit weaknesses we didn't even know we had. Then they must be eliminated, the Supreme Counselor declared. Designate humans as evolutionary aberrations. Authorize maximum force. What the hegemony still didn't understand was that they had just made things much worse for themselves. News of the hegemony's defeat spread across the galaxy faster than any official could contain it. Species that had lived under hegemony rule for centuries began to whisper of something that had long been forbidden: hope. Major Samantha Kelly stepped off her ship onto the surface of Naviri Prime. The blue-skinned Naviri were one of the older species in the galaxy, conquered by the hegemony 300 years ago. Their once proud civilization had been reduced to serving as laborers and technicians. San was here to change that. "Welcome to our world, human," said Krelvon, leader of the Naviri resistance. "We have heard stories of your victory. Many do not believe it possible. Yet here I stand," Sam replied with a smile. "And I bring more than just stories. I bring an offer of alliance." Over the next few hours, Sam showed the Naviri leaders recordings of the battle, technical specifications of human weapons, and most importantly, a plan to free their world from hegemony control. "We do not ask you to fight our battles," she explained. "We ask you to fight alongside us for your own freedom. Earth will provide the technology and training. You provide the courage and knowledge of your sector." Similar meetings were happening across the galaxy. Earth had sent envoys to 12 different species, all with the same message: together, we can end hegemony rule forever. Meanwhile, human forces were striking key hegemony targets with surgical precision. Unlike the hegemony, they did not attack civilian populations or bombard planets. Instead, they targeted supply lines, command centers, and military installations. Dr. Jack Martinez sat in his lab aboard the human strike carrier U.S. Liberty, putting final touches on his latest creation. The small devices spread across his workbench didn't look impressive, but they represented years of research. "Are they ready?" asked Commander Luis Rodriguez, who had been tasked with leading the mission to the Vesperi home system. Jack nodded. "Once activated, they'll create a field that disrupts their shield frequency. Their weapons will be useless for approximately 6 hours. 6 hours is all we need," Lewis said, gathering the devices. "My team leaves in 30 minutes. 3 days later, Lewis and his small team of 12 infiltrated the main Vesperi defense grid. They placed Jack's devices at key points around the massive fleet that protected the Vesperi homeworld. When activated, the entire defense system shut down, leaving the hegemony's most important world completely vulnerable. No shots were fired. No ships were destroyed. But the message was clear: Earth could have obliterated the Vesperi homeworld, and chose not to. The psychological impact was devastating to hegemony morale. Back on Earth, General Howard Grant addressed the United Defense Council. His Ripple strategy was working even better than expected. "The hegemony is making exactly the mistakes we anticipated," he explained, pointing to a galactic map. "They're pulling forces from controlled worlds to fortify their core systems. This is creating power vacuums that rebel forces are quickly filling." Admiral Kate Donovan nodded in approval. "And their economy?" "In free fall," replied the economic advisor. "We've targeted their resource monopolies and transportation hubs. Several hegemony member species are already experiencing food shortages. Remember our directive," Secretary General Johnson reminded them. "We fight the hegemony leadership, not innocent civilians. Every strike must minimize collateral damage." Kate studied the reports from across the galaxy. "We're receiving communications from 3 more hegemony member species. They want to discuss separate peace treaties." "The hegemony is starting to fracture," Howard said. "Exactly as planned." On the hegemony capital world, panic was spreading among the ruling elite. The Supreme Counselor faced growing opposition from within. "These humans must be stopped," he shouted at his military commanders. "Gather every available ship. We will attack their homeworld directly. Intelligence Officer Xental tried to object. Sir, that would leave many of our worlds defenseless. I don't care. Earth must burn, or everything we've built will collapse. As the desperate order went out, Xental secretly contacted his sources. The humans needed to know what was coming. The greatest battle of the war was about to begin. Earth's early warning systems detected the hegemony attack force when it was still 3 days away. It was the largest fleet ever assembled in the history of the galaxy. Over 500 warships gathered from every corner of hegemony space. Their mission was simple: destroy humanity once and for all. Admiral Kate Donovan stood in Earth's unified command center, studying the approaching armada with calm eyes. Around her, military leaders from every nation worked together with practiced efficiency. They've left many of their worlds completely undefended to gather this fleet, she observed, exactly as General Grant predicted. Secretary General Johnson nodded. Our allies are already moving to liberate those systems. But first, we need to survive this attack. We will do more than survive, Kate said firmly. Is the defense grid ready? Captain Diana Wright stepped forward. Yes, Admiral. All systems are operational and standing by. For 2 years, Earth had been building something in secret, a planetary defense system unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Thousands of satellites in orbit and installations on the ground formed an interconnected web of defensive and offensive capabilities. The entire system was controlled from a facility deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. Diana took her position at the main control station. As the officer in charge of the defense grid, she would coordinate Earth's response to the coming attack. All personnel to battle stations, Kate ordered. This is not a drill. Across Earth, people moved to shelters. Unlike the hegemony, which kept its citizens in the dark, humanity had prepared its population for this day. Everyone knew what to do. In space, Earth's fleet took up defensive positions. They were outnumbered 3-1, but they had home field advantage. The hegemony fleet arrived with surprising speed, dropping out of faster-than-light travel just beyond the moon's orbit. Their weapons charged immediately. They're not even going to demand surrender, Johnson noted grimly. They're afraid, Kate replied. Fear makes people do foolish things. The Supreme Counselor himself led the attack from the massive flagship at the center of the hegemony formation. His orders were clear: no mercy, no prisoners, no Earth. The first wave of hegemony ships moved forward, firing their main cannons at Earth. Billions across the galaxy watched the broadcast, many expecting to see humanity's final moments. Instead, they witnessed something extraordinary. Activate the shield, Diana commanded. Around the entire planet, the defense grid came to life. A shimmering energy field formed, catching the hegemony weapons fire and absorbing it completely. Not a single shot reached Earth's atmosphere. Return fire, Kate ordered. From hidden installations around the planet and throughout the solar system, Earth's defense weapons activated. Precision beams of energy struck hegemony ships with pinpoint accuracy, targeting engines and weapons systems, but avoiding life support. The hegemony fleet faltered in confusion. Their intelligence had not prepared them for this level of resistance. Still, they pressed the attack, sending in their second wave. In the chaos, a single ship broke from the hegemony formation. It was small and fast, heading directly toward Earth with a trajectory that avoided the main battle. Sensors detected an unusual energy signature. We have a situation, Diana reported. That ship is carrying a planet-killer weapon. Kate's expression hardened. Intercept and disable. Priority 1. A squadron of Earth fighters peeled away from the main defense, pursuing the rogue ship. After a brief but intense engagement, they forced it to crash on the moon's surface. When the rescue team arrived, they found Ambassador Krelzax in the wreckage, still alive. You are going to destroy an entire planet, Kate said when she confronted him hours later. The Supreme Counselor ordered it. Krelzax replied weakly, We cannot allow your kind to exist. Yet here we are, Kate said. And your fleet is retreating. Indeed, after 3 hours of battle, the mighty Hegemony Armada was in full withdrawal. They had lost nearly 100 ships, while Earth had suffered minimal casualties. As the Supreme Councilor's damaged flagship limped away, news reached him that would seal the Hegemony's fate. 3 major member species had officially declared independence and signed treaties with Earth. The Vesperi Ascendancy, the core of Hegemony power, now faced rebellion from within its own borders. The war had reached its turning point. 6 months after the failed attack on Earth, representatives from 40 different species gathered in the newly constructed Galactic Concordat Hall in Geneva. The Grand Chamber, with its high glass dome showing the stars above, had been built specifically for this historic occasion. Admiral Kate Donovan and diplomat Alan Peters stood at the entrance, watching delegates arrive from across the galaxy. It seemed fitting that the 2 people who had first faced Ambassador Krelzax years ago would now help shape the future of galactic civilization. "Did you ever imagine this when we first met the Hegemony?" Alan asked quietly. Kate smiled. "Not exactly this, but I always believed humanity would find its place among the stars." Inside the hall, Secretary General Malik Johnson called the assembly to order. "Today, we gather not as conquerors, but as equals. The galactic hegemony has formally surrendered after 5 centuries of rule. Now we must decide what will replace it." Over the next 3 days, the delegates debated, argued, and finally agreed on a new galactic order. The hegemony would be dissolved. In its place would rise the Galactic Alliance of Sovereign Species, a democratic union where each member world would have equal representation. "Earth will serve as the Alliance headquarters," Johnson announced on the final day. "Not because humans demand it, but because our central location and neutral position make us ideal hosts." The Naviri representative, Krelvon, stood to address the gathering. "When humans first contacted us, many doubted their intentions, but they have proven themselves different from the hegemony. They fought not to conquer, but to liberate. They used force when necessary, but showed mercy when possible." Representatives from the former hegemony world spoke next. Many had been enemies just months before. Now they sought a new beginning. "The trial of hegemony leaders will begin next month," the Telsonian judge announced. "They will answer for centuries of exploitation and crimes against sentient beings." Ambassador Krelzax, now a prisoner awaiting trial, watched the proceedings on a screen in his cell. He still couldn't understand how everything had changed so quickly. After the formal sessions ended, Dr. Olivia Rice presented her proposal for the Interspecies Scientific Cooperative. "For too long, the hegemony hoarded knowledge and restricted technology," she explained. "This cooperative will allow all member worlds to share scientific discoveries for the benefit of all." Her presentation focused on medical and environmental technologies that could help worlds damaged by hegemony exploitation. The delegates approved her proposal with unanimous support. Later that evening, Earth hosted a celebration in the gardens outside the hall. Species that had been bitter enemies under hegemony rule now mingled freely, sharing food, drink, and stories. Kate found herself standing next to a Vesperi scientist, one of the few from the former ruling species brave enough to attend. "I must ask," the Vesperi said hesitantly, "your people had the power to destroy our homeworld. Why didn't you?" Kate looked up at the stars before answering. "Because that's what the hegemony would have done. We wanted to be better than those we replaced." Across the galaxy, worlds celebrated their newfound freedom. Ships that had once carried hegemony troops now delivered aid and supplies. Trade routes reopened without the heavy taxes the hegemony had imposed. Species that had been separated for centuries reconnected and shared their cultures. As the celebration continued, Admiral Kate Donovan slipped away quietly. She took a transport back to her small home in Colorado. Standing on her porch, she looked up at the night sky, now filled with possibilities rather than threats. 100 years of human history had been shaped by war and conflict. Those difficult times had forged humanity into a species that understood both the cost of fighting and the value of peace. Perhaps that was why, when finally reaching the stars, Humans had become liberators rather than conquerors. Kate smiled as a shooting star crossed the sky. Humanity had found its place in the galaxy, not through domination, but by standing firm against it. The war was over. A new age had begun.